Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Tuesday, the 14th of October 2025. In today's Millwall news, we start out with this. This is from southernnews.co.uk. I don't see why not. Alex Neil issues the latest Millwall injury update. Let's have a read of this then. What's going on here? Alex Neil said Mill will have a mostly fit squad heading into their away trip to Queen's Park Rangers this Saturday. Alfie Doughty, Daniel Kelly, Danny McNamara and Casper Noor were seen back in full training last Friday. Lucas Jensen is the only long-term absence as he continues to recover from a ruptured Achilles sustained in April. The goalkeeper took part in light drills 2 weeks ago. Neil has rarely had a fully fit squad to pick from this season as the Lions suffered injury after injury in the opening stages of the campaign. In the past few weeks, Femi Aziz, Billy Mitchell, Macaulay Langstaff, Mihailo Ivanovic, Luke Condor, Will Smallbone and Massimo Luongo have all returned to fitness and featured for the first team. Neil was asked by News at Den if any of the four back in training could feature in a matchday squad this weekend. I think most of the lads would be fit and available. I think as far as squad score at this moment in time, I don't see why not. Asked if Doughty could be in line for minutes after suffering a hamstring injury back in August, Neil said, he could be in the squad, yeah. Why not? He could be in the squad against QPR. Whoosh. And I would imagine he's not going to be playing at left back. Now that we actually have, he only started that first game. Was it a Norwich game? At left back because we didn't have a left back. They were both injured. So now we have both left backs back. And I would imagine Alfie Doughty plays further forward in the 4-2-3-1. On the left hand side, Femi goes over to the right. He did well there the last game, didn't he? Scored a cracking goal, so why not? But we'll see how we go. Obviously, hopefully he's good enough to take the set pieces, and we'll see how that works out. We will see how that works out. Now, moving on to this, the Southern News. They put this up. It's International Week. You're feeding off of scraps. You're trying to get stories where there ain't any, and they've decided to bring up this story regarding Don Hutchinson. So it was the worst move I made in my life. Ex-Millwall midfielder hopes Lions push for playoffs despite regret over spell. 7,000 views off of what the hell is this about? But not bad. So ex-Millwall midfielder Don Hutchinson. Wasn't it Don? Hopes the Lions make the playoffs this season, but admits his time there was the worst move I made in my life. Hutchinson, now a television pundit for ESPN FC, joined the Lions in August 2005, aged 34, after being released by rivals West Ham United, his second spell with Hammers. He'd previously played for Liverpool, Sheffield United, Everton and Sunderland. The former Scotland international made just 14 appearances for the Millwall before leaving the club by mutual consent 3 months into his contract, citing the need for more first-team opportunities. 14 appearances in 3 months. That's why. Were they substitute appearances? Because that seems pretty bang on, though. 3 months. Let's say four games a month. 4, 8, 12. 14 appearances. He joined Coventry City in January 2006 before eventually hanging up his boots in 2008 after a season with Luton Town. The Lions are currently 8th in the Championship after 9 games, 1 point behind 6th place QPR, who they face on Saturday. Hutchinson does not look back on his time at SC16 with fondness, but backs his former club to challenge for the top 6 this season. I hope they do it. I didn't have a great time there. I was from West Ham and they ate me for it. And I couldn't stand it, don't get me wrong, I don't blame them at all, but it was the worst move I made in my life. I've got no hostility towards him, but that's just how a career is sometimes. Alex Neil, I see him bringing stability, the run of results they've been on now, mean that promotion is possible, why not? And the Championship is a crazy league because if you put a run together, you shoot up the table, and if you lose, there's another game in 3 days' time, and you can get that 3 points right away and put the defeat out of your mind. Any side that could beat you, but it just means that you can beat anyone too. So if Millwall put a run together, they can ride it as far as possible. It's not really a run, is it? It's about you need to win more games. You can't settle for draws. You need to win. I mentioned this before. You got 2 games. You win one, you lose one. Like the Millwall fans were they're a bit schizo. You lose a game. Oh my God, what's going on? Oh, we lost the game. But if we drew 2 games, if we drew and then we drew, and was like, well, 2 draws, we should have won. At least we didn't lose. So you got 2 points from 2 games, but everyone's like, oh, well, at least we didn't lose. But if you win a game and lose a game, you get 3 points from 2 games. But because you lost a game, everyone's shitting their pants. And that's the thing. The teams at the top of the table, they win more. They win the games. They just win games. Well, simple, really, isn't it? So there you go. So today, Tuesday, all of the international Mill players were involved today. Well, I say involved. Most of them were sitting on the bench, or 2 of them. So obviously, Mihailo Ivanovic only had 1 game in this international break. The others had 2, and today was the second game for 3 of the Millwall players. One of them had a blinding game. Well, he's on loan at Millwall, so I mean, maybe he's putting himself out in the shop window. So Ireland beat Armenia 1-0. I say beat. It was a very apparently it was a very atrocious game. Armenia had a player sent off, and they continued to play 5 at the back. The Icelandic manager, which the Irish fans weren't too pleased about. Will Smallbone, using an old picture of him there, but he's there. He got 8.3, which is not the highest. The second highest. Manning got 8.5. He got the assist for the goal. He was on the left wing, facing away from the goal that they were attacking, so facing his own end. Come inside. Oh. And he whipped the ball in onto Ferguson's head, who headed it into the goal. Absolutely, smashed it 40 yards across the pitch onto Ferguson's head. Got the assist. Other than that, I didn't watch the game because it was on Amazon pay-per-view, and I'm not going to bet. I did, I've seen a clip of the goal. If we go to player stats, you can see Will Smallbone second out of the players with 8.3. 1 assist, 3 tackles, 31 of 36 accurate passes. That's 86%, which looks to be quite high. There are some in the 90s, but 8 duels, won 4 of them. 7 were ground duels, and 1 was an aerial duel. 81 minutes on the pitch. He started and he got taken off, but he did play 81 minutes. And there you go. So he had a blinder. Got an assist for the goal. And then what that does for Ireland is they are 3rd in the table on 4 points. Hungary are on 5 points. So this is after 4 games. So there's only 4 in the group. So I would assume, what was that? 8 games? 7. Is it 7? Yeah, it would be 3 home, 3 away. So they got 3 games to go. So they're basically competing with Hungary to finish second, really. But Armenia are in 4th with 3 points. So it's Portugal with 10, Hungary with 5, Ireland 4, Armenia with 3. So it's basically 3 teams vying for second place. So, yeah. Now the other Millwall international players. So going on to Norway versus New Zealand. It's Norway 1, New Zealand 1. This was a friendly played in Ullevål, which is in Norway. And yet again, Max Crocombe was an unused substitute. So They played Paulson. Did New Zealand? You can't see him. He's on the other. He's off over here. But they played Paulson. He played in the last game as well. So they didn't really rotate the squad really that much. Did New Zealand? You would think that they would give some of the players some time. It's just a friendly, but they didn't do that. It looks like Haaland wasn't. Didn't Haaland come home? Haaland wasn't playing. I think Haaland left, didn't he? So it was they were without Haaland, New Zealand, but the Sanderberg is there. So yeah, if we go down, Max Crocombe, it says number 1, but he's been sitting on the bench for the past 2 games. He did play. To be fair, he did play in the 2 games against Australia out over there, so I don't know. He did all right out there. Obviously, I don't know if he's getting blamed for them losing, but he looked like he did okay. Here's the thing, though. Like, obviously, he used to play for Burton. He played for Burton week in, week out, and then he was playing for New Zealand as their starter. Now he's sitting on the bench for Millwall. Does that mean they're not going to pick him because they need someone who's actually playing games? Interesting if that's true. We'll see how that works out. But shame, really, if that's the case. But because they are going to the World Cup, I believe they are going to the World Cup. So you would imagine that he's going to be in that squad come next summer. Now, moving on to the third and final of today's Millwall international players, yet again. So, Afghanistan versus Pakistan in the AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. The game actually went ahead, despite the, military action between the 2 countries just this past week. The game did actually go ahead, and there weren't any red cards, so I don't know how the game went, but I can tell you, if you look on the left hand side there, Elias Mansour, Millwall under-21 player, again unused substitute. So he was an unused substitute in the first game between these 2 sides last week, which ended in a 0-0 draw, and this game ended again in a 1-1 draw. And this is qualification Group E for the AFC Cup, and Syria are top 100% record, 12 points. Myanmar, that's Cambodia. That's Burma to me and you. Burma. Remember Burma? They are second with 6 points, and Afghanistan are third with 2 points. And I think that's because, goal difference -2. And then Pakistan are last with 2 points as well, but they have a goal difference of -3. So there you go. So that's the international roundup, done and dusted. Now, moving on to some interesting stories. The first one related to Millwall, and the last one, sadly, related to Millwall. Hopefully not in a negative way, but I think it will be. This is so you may have seen, was it the old Wally? What's his name? Holt. So he kicked off with about the Crystal Palace game, the Mateta, the kick in the face, slagging Millwall off, attacking the goalkeeper, Liam Roberts, all of this stuff. He got banned by Millwall. They banned him and his newspaper from the Den. Fair enough for him. Agreed with the decision. And after that, he kept writing about it. He kept digging Millwall out, and then he did a story where he ranks all 92 football grounds in how how good the grounds are to go to. I think he said the number 1 was like Stockport County or something. But obviously, taking another dig at Millwall, he said like Millwall's like number 92, and he just slagged us off again. So that story kind of went a bit viral, so you've had people copying it to some extent. And we got this from Talksport.com. Adrian Durham, yeah, he looks like that. You may have heard him on the radio. That's what he looks like. He is a ginger. So yeah, best atmospheres in football. The top 5 most hostile stadiums, including surprise Premier League ground. So Adrian Durham has given his top 5 most hostile stadiums, and there is one there. And this is the Daily Mail. So you put 2 and 2 together, and you can imagine what I'm going to mention. It's one thing for a stadium to be a fortress. It's another thing entirely for it to be a constant cauldron of hate. While fans across the globe buzz over away fixtures, there are some grounds that supporters and players dread visiting. While stadiums are most notably loud and intense during fierce derby matches and crunch clashes, there are some that can be downright scary. Former Watford skipper Troy Deeney told TalkSport that Birmingham's St Andrews boasted an intimidation unlike any other ground he played in. And now TalkSport's legendary broadcaster Adrian Durham has weighed in on the debate, having experienced fixtures worldwide. He's already ranked the greatest stadiums across the 92 professional clubs in England. So, like I said, Holt did that as a way of digging out Millwall. And, Adrian Durham done it. I think I covered it at the time. I think he put us just middling, I think. As well as the top 5 rivalries, and now he's named these top 5 hostile atmospheres. What's the criteria for a hostile stadium? Having his say on what makes a ground so intimidating, Durham said on TalkSport Daily Podcast. Oh, well, I think in terms of stadiums where you will get a hostile atmosphere, something is because of the game itself, which is being played there. But actually, deep down, when you go into a certain ground, that you can be set for an interesting afternoon or evening. We're diving into the heart of European football, not necessarily the goals, the tactics, the noise, the chaos, the pure, unapologetic hostility of the continent's most intimidating stadiums. We're talking about flares going off, pyros, flags, covering entire stands, the tifos that are made, and some of them are quite nasty. Thousands of ultras making life hell for the away team from the first whistle to the very last. The places where even the best players can crumble and where the home fans turn football into something primal. Let's take a look at what stadiums have made Durham's top 5 list. I'm not going to read all this. So these are games that he went to. Obviously, he goes there for work and stuff like that. And some, he's a Peterborough fan. So he has been to games as a Peterborough fan, not for work. Number 5, Red Star Belgrade, Rajko Mitic Stadium. So there you go. Napoli, Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. There you go, Napoli. Number 3, West Ham, Upton Park. And he went there for the last game, he's saying. And then number 2, Burnley, Turf Moor. Number 1, above Upton Park. Number 1, Millwall, Old Den. With my number 1, it's going to be another one that you can't go to. It's the Old Den, Millwall. And the reason is because I went there once and I was in the away end with posh fans. And it was a midweek game and it was a Tuesday night. And I've never been so delighted to lose 4-0. So happy to lose that game. It was intimidation and then some, no doubt about it. So there you go. The most intimidating stadiums according to Adrian Durham of TalkSport. Number 1, Millwall, the Old Den. And you contrast that with what we got now. the flat atmospheres, even when the ground's fully booked. It's packed out. The tourists, whatever, and just all the constant, don't sit down, please, all of this rubbish. And then you think back to what we had and what we've got now and what they're trying to shape it into. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And I just wanted to, obviously, I wanted to check because, we had, before we had John Barnes saying the worst racism he's ever experienced in football was at the Den. And it turns out he never actually fucking played at the Den. So that was funny. But so I wanted to check the game, and I don't know if he went there because it was the last season at the Old Den, but it was the last season at the Old Den. So I don't know if that kind of made his mind up to go to that game. 27th of January 1993, and the last game at the Old Den would have been the 8th of May 1993 against Bristol Rovers. So there you go. He did go to the game. That was in 1993, that game. So there you go. Now moving on to this, the last story. We're going to finish with this. So, Football Regulator plans new licensing regime. So here we go with this nonsense that they're putting in. Absolute nonsense. And it looks like they are actually going to try and do something, which is really bad, because you don't want the government doing things. You want them to mind their own fucking business, because every time they try to do things, they touch it and they fuck it up. So this is from bbc.co.uk Sport Football. The new Independent Football Regulator has published plans for a licensing regime that will go further than anything currently in place by addressing the full financial picture of a club. For the first time, all 116 clubs across the top 5 divisions of the men's game, so that includes the National League teams, in England will be required to hold a licence to compete from 27-28. Being granted one will depend on submitting financial plans, meeting corporate governance standards, and consulting directly with fans on key matters. So, last week and the last month, we've had the FAB, the Fan Advisory Board. I said, why are they doing this? Because it doesn't make any sense. Because you had the Millwall Supporters Club that was part of the club. The club funded it through the fans, and it was kind of in-house. Then they pushed it out and said, no, you have to be independent. And now they're starting the FAB, and then they literally created that themselves. Now we know why. It's because they have to do it to get a fucking license. Under its proposals, the IFR, so they don't even have a name. It's literally just the Independent Football Regulator. They do not have a name. Would have the power to cap club spending and require them to reduce their debt. Clubs will need to apply for a provisional licence from next season in what newly appointed IFR chair David Cogan said was a transformational change. Yeah, they're going to transform it to shit. We are making substantial progress on bringing the Independent Football Regulator regime forward. We will support clubs at every step to reinforce these higher standards. In a statement, the IFR said it will place significant emphasis on clubs' liquidity positions and the sources of funding on which they rely. The IFR will work with clubs to stress test their finances to improve decision-making and ensure long-term resilience. Should clubs be unable to demonstrate sound financial planning, the IFR will have the ability to require clubs to take steps to better manage day-to-day spending, such as increasing cash reserves, controlling costs or reducing debt. It warned. The licensing measures have been open to consultation for the next 7 weeks. Yeah, this is another thing. So it says they published this, they published that. Where the fuck have they published it? Because I'm trying to find their website, and all their website is a page full of all the consultations that they're having. So they don't even know what they're doing. Like, what are we supposed to be doing? Oh, let's consult and say, oh, what do you think we should be doing? And then they're going to decide what they're going to be doing. And that's all that's all that's on their website, is all the list of consultations that they have open. There's no things that they publish. Where did they publish it? In the local newspaper? I can't find a fucking thing that they published. So, you know what I mean? So what, is it secret? Surely when you publish something, maybe it's part of the TSO, the stationery office. You have to buy it. So they published it, but it's in a booklet. And you have to buy it online. You can't look at it online because, God forbid, you know, a thing that you're paying for out of your taxes, you should have the right to fucking read what they're publishing. Oh no, we can't have that. Once introduced, they will require the clubs to consult with their fans on matters such as business priorities, club heritage, and ticket prices. That's the FAB. So, like I said, that's why the FAB is being created, for this shit. Supporters' views must be taken into account when decisions are made, although they will not have a veto. So then what's the point? Oh, we've consulted the fans, and we've decided to completely ignore them, which is, that's what local governments do. That's what TFL does. You know, they have these public consultations. Oh, everyone can have their say. You know, you can consult. It's an open consultation, and then you get, you know, all these people putting in all their things, and then they tell you what they put in. Like, people on social media say, "Oh, this is what I sent to the consultation. This is what they want to do. This is what we think you should complain about." And then, so we know what people have responded. And then they just ignore them and say, yeah, well, you know, we've consulted them. And we've ignored them as well. So, clubs will also have to publicly report on how they are meeting a new code to foster good governance, decision making, and improve overall club management. Why? Last week, Kogan told BBC Sport the watchdog would have the power to force unsuitable owners to sell a club as a last resort. Many clubs are operating at a loss. It's not just a few, he said. What's that got to do? Again, this is going to be the death of football. This is going to kill it. So, you need a license. If you don't get the license, then what happens? You can't compete in the top 5 divisions of English football. So they're going to force them out. Can you imagine it? If a championship club, oh, you didn't get your license, you can't play in the EFL. And you can't play in the national division, so they're going to have to go, National League South or North? And then jump through the hoops to get a license. It's going to be carnage. It's going to be absolute fucking carnage. Like, this is bullshit. And we got this from the Independent.co.uk. Independent Football Regulator enforces new rule that all clubs must do by 2027. That's not part of it. Where does it go? It starts here. Yeah, all clubs in the Premier League, English Football League and National League will need a licence to play from 27-28. Clubs in these leagues, the top 5 tiers of English football, will be required to demonstrate a number of criteria to the new Independent Football Regulator, IFR. These clubs will need to demonstrate the following in order to secure a provisional licence: the soundness of their financial plans, how they are engaging with supporters, how they meet corporate governance standards. That's basically bullshit as well. This is the thing that they do now, where they're forcing companies to be woke. So you wonder, like, why are all these companies? Because they're forcing them to do it. They're forcing them to be, you know, all this electric fucking vehicles, vegan food, all of this shit, solar panels, windmills, all of this shit. And then they get a certificate. Oh, a B standard, C standard, all this shit. They're being forced to be woke so they can get a piece of paper that says they've been certified woke. The under 16 clubs in the Premier League, EFL and Step 1 of the National League will have to apply for provisional licences next season. Plans for the licence system were published on Monday. Again, published where? Where were they published? Again, they were published. The BBC says they were published. The Independent says they were published. But they do not provide a link to where they were published. With the IFR saying the regime would go further than anything currently in place by assessing the full financial picture of a club and adopting a preventative risk-based approach. A pilot scheme for selected clubs is expected to run for next summer ahead of a full application window between November 2026 and February 2027. Licenses will then be issued ahead of the league's annual general meetings so that the three competitions have certainty over which clubs are licensed to compete and which are not. Again, can you imagine? 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 teams don't get a license? Can you imagine the fucking carnage that these fucking idiots in government are going to do to the game of football? It's going to be fucking insane. Absolutely fucking insane. They go, oh yeah, well, no, we're going to do the licenses before your AGMs. So you know which clubs you are allowed to have in your league and which clubs you aren't. Like, what the fuck has it got to do with you, man? A separate application window for clubs who may secure promotion to Step 1 of the National League, so as in teams in National League South, and therefore become subject to the IFR requirements, would run between early March and the end of April 2027. So again, much like before, where you had teams who could... this happens a lot in non-league football, where you have ground grading. How's your ground? Is your ground good enough for the next level up? If it isn't, you get a lot of teams, they win the league and they don't get permission to get promoted. They can't get promoted. And some teams, they really come a cropper with this, and it's kind of like hit in their history. It's like what could have been, sliding doors moment. Like this could have been their chance to ascend. And then they didn't, and they fell away, and they went to rack and ruin. And now that's going to be the same, but with this fucking bullshit. Oh, you're not woke enough as a football club. You don't recycle your fucking tea bags. Oh no, we can't give you a license. Like, fuck off, man. Where clubs cannot demonstrate the soundness of their plans, the regulator will have the power to require them to take steps to more efficiently manage their day-to-day spending, increase cash reserves, control costs, or reduce debt. Yeah, that's great. Maybe you should tell that fucking cunt in the failing Labour government who's the fucking Chancellor of the Exchequer, who's putting everyone's fucking bills up. Maybe you should have a fucking word with her about reducing people's debts. To obtain a provisional licence, the club must submit a personal statement, including a declaration of who the club's ultimate owner is, a strategic business plan, and demonstrate that they will meet the mandatory licence conditions once on a provisional licence, including submitting a financial plan and corporate governance statement and regularly engaging with fans on relevant matters. A provisional licence can last up to 3 years, although this period can be extended by the IFR if necessary. Clubs will need to demonstrate they are consistently meeting the mandatory licence conditions, which means it's likely to take the full 3-year period to secure a full licence. Clubs will have a named supervisor who can answer any queries as they work their way through their licensing process. Ensuring the financial sustainability of clubs and their accountability to fans are the key cornerstones of the IFR, the creation of which was the central recommendation of the 2021 fan-led review of football. The IFR will have a last resort powers to force owners to divest from clubs in extreme circumstances where they have been persistent and serious failures to meet licensing conditions. So they will literally repossess the club from the owner. IFR Chair David Cogan said, "This latest consultation sets out the new requirements clubs will have to meet on financial regulation, fan consultation and corporate governance. This is a transformational change for football, and we will support clubs at every step to enforce these higher standards." Again, transformational. It's going to transform it to a complete fucking pile of shits. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.